guys, Brandon here again with Emerald Coast Pro Plus Detailing here in Gulf Breeze, Florida. We're going to be showing you a way to rinseless wash your car. I get a lot of clients who they bring me their cars and we will polish them or seal them or wax them, ceramic coat them, whatever, and they say, you know, how do I wash my car? The reality is an automatic car wash is not the answer. Long or the short, automatic car washes use caustic and heavy degreasers, which can damage your trim, stain the paint to where you'd have to polish it or refine it or do whatever. It's going to strip any protectant off your car, and it's also going to swirl and scratch your car. You're essentially cleaning it with your own dirt, and it's using brushes that spin at a high speed, which is just going to swirl your paint. So car washes, automatic car washes, are not the answer to washing a car. However, this is one way that I like a lot. It's a little bit different than traditional washing, so people kind of like that because it's easier. From a business standpoint, it's more efficient, so it's more profitable. From a consumer or an enthusiast standpoint, I guess it's the same thing. It's quicker, so time is money, so it will save you some money, I guess. But really, it's a little bit easier of a way to wash your car without damaging it. That's really the most important thing. Understand that every time you wash your car, you can potentially swirl it. The idea is having the right products and the right method in place to minimize the swirling as much as possible. So this is a great one bucket method. You can see we have all the products laid out here. This is what you need. You notice that there's no pressure washers or foam cannons or multiple buckets. This is really basically all you need to rinseless wash your car. Now, before we demo the rinseless process, the first question you kind of have to ask yourself or assess is my car worthy of a rinseless wash? Because not all cars should be rinseless washed. There are some cars that are going to need a little bit more prep. And what I mean by that is if you take your car through cornfields, or you have a Jeep and you go mudding, or it has heavily saturated dirt, rinseless washing is not an option for you. Can it still be rinseless wash? Absolutely, but that's when you would want to bring out a pressure washer. And in all reality, if you have caked on dirt and things like that, you probably want to stick with a traditional method of washing versus doing rinseless. However, you can rinse it off. You can, get all in the wheel wells and pressure rinse it down, and then go to this rinseless method, which we'll demonstrate. So really, the car that we have here today is a prime candidate. It is a little bit dirty, but there is not any caked on dirt or debris, anything like that. You can see the rims are a little bit dirty, but we're not really going to be demoing that. We're just going to be focusing on the paint. Now, Optimum, which is the manufacturer that we are using, they make what's called a Optimum no rinse, and that's the whole process. Is we're never rinsing the car. We're basically washing it and drying it. But they make two different options, and you can see that we use these because we're pretty low on this one. But they have an Optimum no rinse wash and shine and an Optimum no rinse wash and wax. Now the difference between the two is if we have ever applied any sort of sealant or wax or anything like that, and you want just a straight cleaner, basically O&R. That's the acronym for it, Optimum No Rinse. O&R will clean and enrich the existing sealant. So if we've used something like OptiSeal or Optimum Car Wax or HyperSeal, what this will do is completely cleanse the surface, enrich that existing sealant without stripping it off. Understand that a car wash soap can strip and break down sealants and waxes, things like that. So if you do use a traditional detergent or soap, it will weaken specifically wax, and it can kind of degrade sealants. O&R Optimum No Rinse Wash and Shine will not. So if you're looking for just a straight, something that has a very strong cleaning ability and that will add some shine to your car, this is exactly what we would want to use. Now, if you want more protection, if you want to furthermore extend the life of your sealant or your wax, or if we've never done the car, you'd want to do Optimum No Rinse Wash and Wax, because this is actually putting a new layer of protection on top of the surface. So even if we've already previously sealed or waxed the car, this is a great option because it's going to put another layer of protection on top of what we've already put, extending the life of it, making it stronger. If we've never done the car, this is a great option because it's putting a layer of protection on. So if we were to use Optimum No Rinse Wash and Shine and we've never put anything on the car, all it's going to do is clean it. There is a chemistry between products, whereas if there's an existing optimum sealant down, it will bond to it and, like I said, enrichen it. If there's nothing there, it's just going to clean the car. So that's why a lot of people do like the wash and wax, because this is synthetic wax. It's not like a normal wax, so it does have polymers and it's a little bit stronger. So a lot of people kind of lean towards that. Realistically, either option is great. Like I said, the cleansing power of both are fantastic, and we use them here almost daily. And they serve multiple purposes. You can even clean your interior, your glass, your wheels. Literally, you can clean everything just with O&R, and you can clean and protect everything with O&R WW, as we call it. So we're just going to get into the setup real quick and just do a quick demo. Now, with all cars, washing is kind of the same. You always want to start at the roof and work your way down. However, for video purposes, we're not going to do that because it's just going to be a terrible video. So we're just going to do this side door here, but we're going to walk you through the setup. Now, all you need is, for demonstration purposes, we'll just use wash and wax because it looks a little bit better. We have this fresh bottle. I just popped the top here. It's completely full. I just broke the seal. All you need is basically your wash concentrate, which we have here. The Big Red Sponge, which we carry here. People often ask, can I get these products here? Yes, you can get everything you see here from us. The Big Red Sponge by Optimum, and a grit guard. What this does is this grit guard goes in the bucket, and the sponge goes in the bucket. And we have about 2 gallons of water. Now, that's just straight water. All we're going to do is add 1 ounce of product, and that's what this cap is. It is exactly 1 ounce. So what we're gonna do is just do 1 capful of the product, pour it in, and just kind of mix it up. Now, what we also have is a garden sprayer. Now, I lied, we don't sell these at the shop, but you can get them at Home Depot and Lowe's and places like that. Now, this isn't required, but it is recommended. What I like to do is take half a cap. So there's just half a cap there. That's a little bit more than half a cap, but that's okay. And pour that in. What we're gonna do is use this as what's called a pre-soak. So the way O&R works is on contact, when the wash solution comes in contact with any dirt, it is going to lift it off the surface, encapsulate it in a polymer ball. And when the sponge comes around, it gets sucked into the sponge. The sponge has these nice little grooves here. It's not like a traditional sponge that you would use. Like I said, it's made for these products. So what the pre-soak does is it kind of accelerates the whole process, and it also gives a little bit more lubrication. If you think about it, when you wash a car normally with soap, soap is a lubricant. So when you're washing a car, you have all this lubrication. But then when you dry it, all your lubrication is gone. And that's often where a lot of people will actually swirl and scratch cars is drying. With O&R, there's lubrication beginning to end. So if you have a little bit more lubricant, it's perfectly okay. So what you do is you get a little workout in here, and you pump this up. Now, what we do oftentimes is we will pressure rinse a car down before, especially during the summer when it's really hot. We'll pressure rinse it down just real quick just to knock any topical dirt off. Again, doing extra steps aren't frowned upon. You don't need to pressure rinse it. Just us being an accredited establishment, we like to just follow certain steps in the way we do things to give you the best results. So this is a service that we offer with both O&R and O&R WW. But like I said, this video is to kind of show you, the client, like, hey, you can do this on your own without messing up your car or running it through a car wash. Because that's one thing that I really hate is we'll do these bigger jobs. We're polishing the car or doing a paint correction, and we see the car, 5-6 months later, or maybe even sooner, and it's all swirled and it's all scratched. And that's just because lack of proper maintenance. This is a great maintenance that you can do for your car that's very easy, and it's very beneficial in many aspects. So now that we've got our workout in here, I'm gonna pump it a couple more times. I'm just gonna do this little door here, just a quick demo. So the process is the same. There is no difference. So going back to the O&R and the O&R WW, it's 1 ounce either way, and that's why we have this measuring cup here. So if you're doing O&R, it's 1 ounce of O&R in the bucket, or if you're doing O&R wash and wax, it's 1 capful, 1 ounce in there. It doesn't matter. It's the same dilution for both products. Same thing with your pre-soak sprayer. Half a cap, half an ounce in the sprayer. Some people use a little bit less. I buy a ton of this stuff. I try not to shortchange on what we do, because sometimes having a little bit more concentrated can pay dividends. So all you do, let's say you did the roof, so the roof's already down, okay? So now we're working our way down here. all you want to do is basically pre-soak the door. So kind of adjust your sprayer. Just like that. And you can do trim, you can do glass if that's what if you want to do the whole thing, go right ahead. Again, this is just a demonstration. So all we're doing is just kind of spraying this, and you can see the wash and wax. It has some hydrophobic properties in there as well as UV inhibitors, so it will protect the paint as well. What it's doing is it's lifting the dirt off right now, okay? So we've kind of jump-started the process, so now that dirt is being lifted off, and that's why, I mean, obviously gravity has a lot to do with it, but some of that dirt is getting weighted down and pulled down. So all we're gonna do now is take our sponge. We have our water, our grit guard, and our sponge. And you wanna have your sponge just have a little bit of a drip. You don't want it going crazy, but just like that. And what I like to do is I like to do half the door, and I like to do about 4 to 5 passes. And if the car is dirty, you may want to do less. And then realistically, halfway through, you should flip it. I went a little bit further. And then go down here. And I'll even go over the trim because it's not too bad. Just be careful with trim. If it's really dirty, you probably don't want to do that. You may want to spray this on and, you know, with your pre-soak, spray it down and wipe it down with a microfiber, but this car is not that dirty. So now I've used both sides of the sponge. I've gone left to right, top to bottom. I'm gonna push the sponge and squeeze it, and then flip it over and push the sponge and squeeze it. What that's done is released all the dirt that has been entrapped in this sponge, okay? It's weighted down with the polymer technology, and it's in the bottom of the bucket. And I've got that grit guard in there, that way I'm not pushing it back in the dirt and stirring all the dirt up, okay? So now I'll just do the rest of this door here. I'll go ambidextrous here, I'll go left-handed for you guys, it's a treat. So we'll do that, we'll flip it halfway through. And I'm not putting any more pressure than I need to. It's basically just the weight of my hand and it's gliding across the surface, okay? So, we've washed and waxed this door. Now all we have to do is dry it. So, like I said, this is called Optimum No Rinse. There is no rinsing. I've pre-soaked, I've washed, now I'm going to dry, and what's going to be left behind is a clean and waxed surface. If it's Optimum No Rinse, the non-wax version, we've just cleaned and fortified. So all I'm going to do is take my drying towel, which is just a standard waffle towel, and I'm basically going to, again, with the weight of my hand, and it's drying and leveling the wax in one step. I'll go left-handed again here. And it dries very easy. You really, if you have a good drying towel like this, these are just from AutoAlity. You just fold them into quarters. We carry these towels here as well. And you basically just dry it out. Now I don't like drying trim down with the same towel that's touching paint. I'll come through and hit that with a microfiber. But you can see that what we've done is we've washed and waxed in one step. Now this isn't like a traditional wax, as I stated. It's 1, a synthetic wax, and 2, it is a polymer fortified wax. So with traditional Carnauba waxes, you would apply it. It's a paste wax. You would apply it, let it sit, and then remove it. This is synthetic. You don't need it. It's basically spray and go. So this does add a very nice slickness to the surface. Realistically, the protection that you're adding, if this is a raw substrate with no wax, no sealant on there, you're realistically going to get 4, maybe 5 weeks out of it. Here in Florida, it's tough. We have a very saturated environment, a lot of contaminants, a lot of salt in the air. If it stays in the garage, you can probably get up to 5 weeks. Realistically though, 3 to 4 weeks if it stays outside and is a daily driver. From a business standpoint, it's always better to basically give realistic expectations. You don't want to over guarantee and under deliver. And there's a lot of companies out there that do that. I know Wash and Wax says somewhere from 6 to 8 weeks, but that's with proper maintenance. If you're doing a wash like this and then you follow it weekly with using something like ONR, there's no reason why it couldn't last 8 weeks. But most people don't. They wash their car maybe once a month. So if you do something like this once a month, it's going to basically always protect your car. It's not the top of the line protectant, but it's absolutely better than nothing. The biggest thing this is going to prevent is UV degradation. So you're not going to get the oxidation and the fading, the breaking down You know, you look at this car and you see how faded the plastics are and stuff. This car is only 4 years old, so imagine if your paint was as susceptible to UV breakdown the way your trim does, you know. So this is a car that spent 4 years of its life outside in Florida, and it got beat up, you know. And the paint, you know, it's got some swirls and it's got some damage, but essentially this is a car that we've done for a client that we've maintained for the last 4 years. So overall, it stays in pretty good shape. Could it be cleaned more? Absolutely, but that's why we do these videos, because we want you to take care of what we do for you, so that way when you bring it back to us, the car's not that bad and that saves you money. And realistically, then you like your car longer. There's nothing worse than putting a ton of money into a car and then, you know, 4 or 5 months down the road, you're like, ah, it looks like junk again, you know. So doing something like this, it can protect the whole outside of the vehicle, you know, paint-wise. It'll give you that water beading, that Rain-X-like effect on your glass. So, you know, what we'll do when we're done washing this here is we'll take this, we'll spray it on the glass, clean it with a microfiber, and then when it rains, the water beads off. So this is something that really should be done periodically, about once a month. But if you want to do it more, you're also not hurting the car at all. So, so this is just one way that you can, you know, help take care of your car. Help keep the integrity, help it looking great for years to come. And again, this is a service that we offer. This is just our basic exterior. We do have options where we can also add sealants and other waxes on to give you longer and stronger protection. For all the clients watching, please, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them in the box below. If you're another detailer, we always like feedback. Click that like, click that subscribe, and tune in for more car saving tips. Thanks for tuning in.